while the legislators have this bonanza available to them, I don't see them doing anything about addressing the union's high pay, permanent benefits, or lifelong benefits for themselves and their families. I don't see them doing anything. So it's a corrupt system and promulgated by the legislators themselves.
Okay,
More than just
gentlemen,
sessions.
it's
You
now
need to,
time to start the meeting.
okay,
Joe, thank you for hosting our session group today.
my pleasure, Joe.
And bear with me because I'm having computer problems, so I'm on my iPad. And hopefully I'll be able to work it.
Your camera's working well.
Well, it's my iPad, yeah. So what I don't see is the slides.
Hey, Joe, this is Carl. I can't see the slides.
Neither can we.
Nobody.
Yeah, they were up before, Carl. I don't know what happened.
Screen's blank.
It says I am sharing, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, they're there for a second, I think.
Yeah, I don't,
Steve, is it something Joe did, or is it, should I?
It must have been something somebody did, because I didn't touch it. It was there.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll stop and restart this share then.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
Nothing like a reboot.
It
Oops.
disappeared.
There we go. Can everybody see it?
No,
No, no.
you're not sharing. You're not sharing.
I can see it okay.
Yeah, but you're not sharing. You can just do an audible.
Let's see. All right, we'll try again.
Yeah, what happened?
That is terrific. Now I can't get my Zoom up again at all. So.
Better got a grandkid living with him?
All right. We'll fix this. Except there I am. Okay. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay.
You're on.
Okay, now let's see if I can go to slideshow, go to full screen if it shuts me down or not.
Why are you clicking there? There you go.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice.
with
for
liberty
all.
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all. Next slide. Okay, now, again, I can't get rid of the participants list. It's just covering the screen. So, Carl, would you read it? So since I can't see half the.
Just move the list.
Excuse me.
Is that right?
Carl?
Yes.
Could you read the slide because I can't see half of it.
Okay.
that-
All right. It was mentioned at the last meeting, but I didn't have a slide last week for Marv Weinstein, who passed away on February 13th at the age of 93. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and was to those who know him, he was a warm, caring person, great sense of humor, and loved his puns. He was a SMAS member for 9 years, and any donations that members would like to make in his memory should be made to the David Lieberman Fund at the Children's Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. Does anyone have any remembrances, any remarks they'd like to make on Marv?
I
Well,
believe he was an attorney for many
I'd
years.
add that Marv was a very, very good bridge player. Very, very enjoyable to have him as a partner.
I mean, you would win often that way.
That's right.
Okay. Also, just this past week on Monday, Tom Sullivan passed away at the home of his daughter. His son provided this information to us. He was born in Providence, Rhode Island, and went to from elementary school through his law degree. He went to a series of Catholic colleges and universities: Providence, Holy Cross, and Georgetown. He had a long career as a patent attorney, originally working for American Cyanamid, and then for General Foods. He was a longtime member of the Knights of Columbus at St. Cecilia, and was a 25-year member of SMAS. A funeral mass will be held for Tom this Friday at 10:30 in the morning at St. Cecilia's. Would anyone like to speak about Tom?
I knew Tom, this is Joe. I knew Tom since probably mid-70s when I transferred into the Knights of Columbus up at St. Cecilia's. Tom was a true gentleman and really a fun guy to be with, always had pleasant words. And he was not well in the last year or so, but Tom was, up until then, was a pretty regular attendee at our meetings. And he's going to be missed.
I'd like to add about Tom, because Tom and I used to work together in the kitchen for refreshments for our meetings many times. And he never had anything bad to say about anything. And he was really kind of like a mentor that way, because, you know, I tend to be very critical and cynical. So he has taught me what it really means to be a human being. And yes, we will all miss him.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Joe, can you see this slide, or should I keep going? This is the slide about the thank you to, well, not the thank you, the note to Reverend Van Dyke at First Presbyterian.
Yeah. Dave Kaplan, when, mentioned to me that it'd be nice to send a personalized congratulatory note to Reverend Van Dyke on the fact that the First Presbyterian Church received national landmark recognition. So if you would read it, Carl, I think a beautiful, beautiful note that Dave came up with. And thank you, Dave.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be good to mention at this point that David's done a great job. He stepped up and on his own organized this this means of communication on behalf of the organization, thanking notes to people and congratulations to people, and we very much appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, Carl, will you read the note, because I think it's
Dear Reverend Van Dyke, On behalf of the Senior Men's Association of Stamford, we send our heartiest congratulations to you and your congregation for the First Presbyterian Church's designation as a National Historic Landmark. It is quite an honor. We are grateful for our association and look forward to the day when we can join you together again for our meetings. Sincerely, Joseph Andriana, President SMAS.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Dave, again.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, now come to our today's speaker, Joe.
Yeah, I
Lori
got
Price.
that. Today's speaker is going to be Lori Price, and she will be speaking on, as usual, money matters, investing. So stay for the meeting. She's always gives a great advice and presentation. Okay, Stu?
Okay, good morning, guys. First off, I wanted to review last week's session with Bobby Valentine. The open house was extremely successful. I wanted to thank in particular, besides me thanking Bobby, Howie Breslow. Howie was very strong this year, had a big presence and helping to promote the open house. We had at least 11 new folks join us last week. I understand one or two have already signed up. So big thank you for Howie for making sure we had the slides and making sure that everyone was aware that this was an important meeting. So great success. We had 77 members last week, 77 total attendance, which was more than any other Zoom I think we've ever had. Probably up with those 11 folks to help it, the number grow. Also, it was Steve Fisher for his, I would call his air cover with emails, making sure that everyone knew about the session. Dick Fisher, it's interesting. He sent a letter to the Advocate to asking them to advertise our event prior to its happening. The reporter he spoke with did not write, was not the one that was on the air with us last week. It was another one. We're not sure how that person got there, but apparently, as you probably all saw in the Advocate, we hit the front page with a big scoop that he was considering at least running for mayor of Stamford. So thanks to Dick for at least prompting that process, and to Carl for making sure that the slides were okay and up to date, working with us and make sure that, again, everyone knew what we were going to do. So thank you for all you guys for helping out. Next slide.
Yeah, we also sent, just so everybody knows, those people who brought people to the meeting, that we did follow up with correspondence with everyone, thanking them for attending, leading them to the website, and asking them to contact us if they wanted more information, and informing them that membership applications were available on the website.
Next week, we'll hear all about our aching feet. Dr. Albright, a doctor at the Stamford Hospital, will talk to us about all the various ailments and conditions, remedies for situations that I'm sure lots of us have encountered over the years, and I have. Week after that is Chief Tim Shaw. He's going to talk about the current initiatives going on in the Stamford Police Department. I'm sure he'll talk about the new police department, the building itself, the headquarters. So that'll be pretty interesting. He's, for those of you who may not know, you probably do all know, he's new. He's only been in the job, I guess, maybe even less than a year. So it should be interesting to get his perspective on what's going on. Week after that, we have scientists from the Israeli Cancer Research Fund, Professor Nama Gilzatorsky, will talk to us about the research that they're doing in Israel to solve basically cancer in the stomach area. Lastly, on March 25th, Julie Jason comes back. We had her, I guess, a couple of years ago. I think she was the main speaker at the open house before Bobby Valentine. So it's 2 or 3 years ago she joined us. Now she's going to talk about optimizing the impact of gifts to children and your grandchildren. So given in that it's tax season now, the timing is probably pretty good to listen to what she has to say. So that's it for me, and have a great day.
Okay, next up, Ira on the minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Stu's already told you that we had a great attendance last week of 77. I trust that everybody has received the minutes, and if there are no additions or corrections, then I'm going to ask President Joe to cast one ballot for all for approval.
I have not heard any comments, so Ira, meeting minutes for last February 18th are approved. Thank you again.
Okay.
Okay, Larry here, 920 discussion groups. I want to thank Joe D for leading us on a discussion of current events this morning. Next week, Art Feldman will be leading a discussion on the effect of technology on cultural norms. On March 11th, Joe D returns talking about investing. On the 18th, Bob Butke will be talking on technology. And March 25th, we have a new discussion group leader, Emily Boothroyd, who holds a JD in Certified Financial Planning degrees. She's an associate of today's speaker, and although the title is Money Matters, the same title as Lori's speech, it will be on a different matter within the financial realm of topic. So we're going to welcome Emily when she speaks, and glad to have her as a discussion group leader. Next slide. Yesterday's walk was great. We had a huge turnout. Bob and Jean Meyer were there, Lou Terry, Dave Kaplan, Steve Trell, Brian McDermott, myself and my wife, Susan, Joan and Jerry Krantz, Ira and Phyllis Bernstein, Art Feldman, and Jim Sarnell. The weather was great. We did a minimum of 2 laps, and some guys did around 3 laps around Cove. It was just a fantastic day, and we look forward to having more people join us as long as the weather's great. You know, you get fresh air, you get good scenery, you get a chance to converse in person with other people, and you do get exercise. So all 4 great attributes for a walk. Next week, the walk's going to be in Irwin Park in New Canaan, same time, 10 a.m. Hope to see you all there, and maybe more of you. So look forward to that. Next slide, please. The annual picnic is still scheduled for Thursday, September 23rd. Stu, you want to have some mention of it?
Sure. I think I mentioned last week, I'll repeat. The mayor has been confirmed. He will be speaking either live or not. I don't know. Well, if we're having it, it'll be live. If not, it'll be Zoom. The caterer has been contacted, and he will provide food if it's a live situation. The permit should be approved in a couple of weeks from the city. In my mind right now, I'm not 100% sure whether it's going to be on or not, based on, we'll have to go by whatever the governor tells us we can do. So we'll go ahead and we'll go along with the planning part. Anybody who would like to help, we have a very good committee, but always willing to accept more people to help. So hopefully we'll be in a different situation and have a live event so we can all get together and schmooze. Thank you.
Hey, Stu, this is Carl. Do we, will we be inviting the other mayoral candidates?
I haven't thought about it, but it's a good point. We should.
Okay.
We should.
Well, typically what we do is we send out invites either to the Democratic committee and the Republican town committee and any other politicians that may be running or want to come. They are not allowed to speak. We don't ask them to speak. If they want to mingle, they mingle. And the only person that speaks is the mayor. So that's typically what we've done. And by the way, they do pay when they come. They don't come in for free. So that's what's been done before I did it and when I was running the picnic.
Okay. And just as a thought, looking for any other activities that anybody has an idea for. I've mentioned in the past an informal gathering for golf once the weather clears and all the snow melts and etc. And Ed Roloff has mentioned there's a possibility a trip to the Beardsley Zoo, which I believe is in Bridgeport, not too far away, just as a gathering get-together. So again, waiting for the weather to get steadily a bit nicer, and I welcome any thoughts from any of the members. Just send me an email and any thoughts you might have about an activity where we can get together safe, where most of us feel safe. I think with all of us on the road to vaccination and some kind of immunities, doing this in the not too distant future. So that's it for me. If there's any comments, I welcome them. If not, to the next slide.
Okay, membership. Do we have any guests or visitors with us this morning? If not, we do have a new member. Jeffrey Lowen was first to send in his application and his dues check, and he was brought to us by Dave Kaplan. And hopefully he'll be one of several people who have contacted me that may be interested in joining. Encourage you to continue. It's not no special event, no special open house, but continue to keep people in mind, your neighbors and people you meet in your different organizations, different Zoom meetings, and invite them to participate in our future meetings. Thank you.
Okay, fellowship. Getting back to what Joe said, we have been sending out sympathy cards as well as congratulatory notes. And we did send out a sympathy card to Ruth Weinstein on the passing of Marvin. And also a card to Tom Sullivan's son and two daughters, Frances, Maureen, and Margaret. And following up on Carl's correspondence with Frances, I called him day before yesterday, and we had a very nice conversation. He reminisced at some length about how meaningful SMAS had been all these years to his father. As Carl had mentioned on the previous slide, 25 years worth. And in fact, Francis told me that while Tom was in hospice the last couple weeks of his life, how much he looked forward to zooming in on the SMS meetings. Gave him a lot of satisfaction and pleasure in seeing his friends and fellow members, made him feel a part of his normal world beyond the confines of his hospice environment. And so Francis asked me to pass on his heartfelt thanks to everyone and how meaningful our support is to Francis and his two sisters. So the members who have appreciated calls and whatnot, I've been in touch with each of these, and they say that they really do appreciate. So please do keep it up. And if you have knowledge of anybody else who would benefit from us being in contact, please let me know. So that's it for me. Any good news or or otherwise from any of the other members? If not, that's it.
Okay, I'd like to thank you, Dave. You know, we were talking about getting cards and doing different things. So Dave came up with a way and has a template, created a template, and now can make cards to fit the occasion, whether they're happy occasions or sad occasions, as indicated. And he took that initiative to do it. So, Dave, great. Thank you for doing all of this for us.
Thank you, Joe. And I would say that for any of the members who know of anyone who could benefit from us reaching out, formally with a card in writing, please let me know, and I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. Okay, next subject, the book club, Dick Harper.
Good morning, everybody. We're coming up on next Wednesday at 1:30 for Kingdom of the Ice, which is quite a long book, but it's a fascinating book. And a story of some gentlemen who thought they could get to the North Pole via going around the west side and up past Seattle and Alaska. And it's amazing how long they survived and what they went through. And then we'll be reading quite a different book for April on the 7th, The American Axis, about Henry Ford and Charles Lindbergh. And if anybody wants to get on the Zoom for this coming meeting on Wednesday, just email me at richardharper@online.net and I'll send you the connection. And I believe that all the regular people have gotten connection already.
Hey, Dick. I'm just wondering, Dick, if maybe you can put the, or if Steve has it, maybe just send out a email blast to all members with the information on it, so that even some of the guys that are not on the Zoom meetings may get involved.
I don't have the Zoom set up for it.
Should I send it to Steve or to Carl?
Send it to Steve, and then he'll forward it to the membership.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Carl? Unmute yourself, Carl.
Today is Fairfield County Giving Day, and it's a day for people to think of the many charitable social organizations that we have around us. There's, I think, 300 of them, I believe, in Fairfield County. And it's a day to, we can easily go online at the website shown down here, fcgives.org, and give to the organization of your choice online. And there's lots of different companies have supported this, continue to support this activity. And there are awards given to the each charity for the amount of money raised, the number of people contributing between 11 a.m. and 12 noon and things like that. So I encourage all of you who I know are very, very generous to your favorite organizations in Stamford to go online and consider making a contribution today. It'll lift the spirits of the organization and give them much needed funds to continue their good works in Stamford.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Are there any items for discussion to be brought up? Anybody want to add anything? Okay, raise your hand if you, or any jokes. Jokes reminds me, the discussion on the plane losing an engine earlier reminded me of a story about Tony and Angelo coming from on a plane for the first time, and they're coming to New York, and they board the plane, they get on the plane, and everything's going great, and they're really enjoying themselves. They're getting free drinks, and lo and behold, the captain comes on and he says, "This is the captain of Malatesta." He said, "I got a bad news and a good news. The bad news, we lose one of the engines on the plane. The good news, it's a Boeing 747 with the General Electric engines are the best engines in the world. We still got 3 engines, and we're going to make New York, but we're going to be 2 hours late." Yeah, that was fine. About another 2 hours into the flight, he comes on, he says, "This is the captain speaker." He says, "I got another bad news." He says, "We lose an engine in number 2. He says, "Man, no worry. It's a Boeing 747, a General Electric engines, and we're going to be, instead of 2 hours late, we're going to be 6 hours late. But we get to New York." Sure enough, 3 hours into the flight, he comes on. He's, "Bad news. We just lose engine number 3. But it's a General Electric engine. We still got the one, and we're going to get to New York, but we're going to be 10 hours late getting into JFK." So that goes on. And don't you think, of course, an hour later, he says, "Bad news. We lose engine number 4. And before he could say anything, Tony pushes Angelo, and he says, "That son of a bitch, we're going to be flying all night now." So the engines are good until we lose all of them. Okay, Brian, you got your hand up.
All right. Guy goes into a fancy restaurant. He sits down and he goes to the waiter. He says, "I want coffee. I want sugar, but no cream." About 5 minutes later, the waiter comes back and he goes, "I'm sorry, sir. We're out of cream. We'll have to give you no milk instead."
Okay. Dave Kaplan.
Yeah, not a joke, but I got a email list from a friend of mine that I thought was pretty nice. It's some important philosophical questions of life. 1, why do people order double cheeseburgers, large fries, and a Diet Coke? Why do banks leave vault doors open and then chain the pens to the counter? Why do we leave cars worth thousands of dollars in our driveways and put our useless junk in the garage? Why can't women put on mascara with their mouth closed? Why don't you ever see the headline, "Psychic wins lottery"? Why is lemon juice made with artificial flavoring and dishwashing liquid made with real lemons? Why isn't there mouse-flavored cat food? And finally, why don't sheep shrink when it rains?
There was the other one. Why do we park on the driveway and drive on the parkway?
That certainly would qualify.
Okay.
Any other jokes? I don't see Lori on yet. Or anybody want to bring up anything for discussion?
Yeah, this is Steve. I don't have a joke, but we were talking about losing the airline engine, and I reflected on a flight I had out of Philadelphia to Phoenix, where we're taking off. I've done this I don't know how many times, and the plane starts to vibrate, keeps vibrating. Cockpit door opens. Engineer or pilot or somebody walks halfway through the plane, looks out the window, shakes his head no, and walks back into the cabin and says, "We've lost an engine, and we're waiting for instructions where to go next." And we're sitting there. You just took off, go back. But I mean, just having him come back there and shake his head, that was enough. I'll mute myself on that one.
Okay. I don't know how you were talking there, Steve. You're muted over here.
I unmuted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're still okay. We still have about almost 10 minutes for Lori to jump on.
We're a little early today.
Yeah. And I don't know if we want to get back to some of the discussion, any of the discussions that we had before for 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, Larry here. Interesting point on that people who don't have a vaccination card and needing it, say, to board airplanes or to go on to certain venues. The question becomes, is that a discriminatory action on the part of whatever the event planner or the airlines are doing? And will the ACLU get involved in that?
Larry, if you need a copy of your vaccination report, you can go to VAMS and get it. I got a report. I got my second one yesterday, and I got a report right away. That's better than your
we
card.
have the card, and we do have.
This is better than the card because it's a computer printout.
Oh, well, we have it on our phone. I have a picture on my phone.
But anyhow, but the whole thing is this is really neat because you go to VAMS and you just print it out, and you get I got a printout of the same information in the card, except it's computer printed.
Oh.
Which is really pretty neat. I'm just giving you. I found that out yesterday after I had mine, and it's really a neat report. Told you where you had it, and your everything that's on your little card is on there. The dose number, what your dose number was, and everything else. So I'm just giving you that as a little heads up. So the card is just a handwritten document. Anybody could write it.
However, the Larry question about the discrimination.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to speak, please. Howie, you're up next.
A couple of things I'd like to bring up. Number one, Larry said about the vaccine. When we went the first time to get our first shot, they gave us one card for Joan and I. When we went back to get the second card, they never put a dose number on it. We had to sit a half an hour while they searched all their computer records to find what the first dosage was. We knew it was Moderna, but they needed a batch number. It took us an extra half an hour, but now we each have a card, and I took a picture of the card on my phone, so we have it with us. The second thing I want to talk about was the open house. We only got one member out of the 11 invites, which is about the lowest we've ever had. And I'd attribute to that we're not all together where these people could see other people they know, have people come up and talk to them. So I think that in the future, when we're, thank God, back together, we'll find it much easier to get new members. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
Joe, you want to talk?
Yeah, Franco, go ahead. Then
Yes,
Carl.
good morning, everybody. I think the question of Larry is important. Is an entity that organizes, or a government entity like Amtrak can forbid somebody to participate or to the train ride or to the activity because he's not vaccinated. And I think is a question that can be pondered in relation to the remedial things that the entity is going to do for the event or for the transportation in order to allow the other people that are not vaccinated, because some people cannot be vaccinated because of health reasons. But people that refuse to vaccination because they don't believe, I don't think the community can stand to allow these people to use the same facility or event as other people that have fulfilled the vaccination process. It's a tricky question, but I think will come out.
Franco, Carl Shapiro.
Did anybody see the article last week in the Journal about herd immunity? That one guy had a theory that we could see herd immunity in this country before by sometime in April, based on the fact that so many people are getting vaccinated, but also so many people have had it without symptoms and are then in essence immune, which raises the question: at what point will the country say we're at herd immunity, and it doesn't matter who's been vaccinated or not, that it's kind of safe? It may not be as early as April, but it could be sometime this year. And I think that may be the driving factor with what will people can and can't do without being vaccinated, because of the country being in a mode of herd immunity at some point.
Thank you, Dick Fisher. Lori has joined us. Lori, I made you co-host, but we're going to just take questions.
This will be fast. Back to Howie's comment about the open house. I had thought that it was going to be published, the list of the guests, so that we can in fact contact people we knew, because I do know a number of the people that were here. So maybe that's a way of promoting membership. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dick. Joe Giaquinto. Joe, you had your hand raised.
Joe, I'm going to interrupt for a second to say to Dick Fisher, I will send the list to Carl and he can send it out.
Okay.
Thank
Joe Giaquinto. You have your hand raised, Joe. Okay.
Guess not.
Okay. All right. Stu, Lori is online now, and so if you want to introduce her.
Okay. So I'd like to welcome Lori. Glad she's here. Many of you know Lori. You've attended the 9 o'clock or the 9:20 sessions for the organization. This time we're having her as a main presenter. For those of you, perhaps the newer members may not know much about Lori, I'll just read a little brief biography that she sent. She's a certified financial planner, and is the founder, president, and the CEO of Price Financial Group. For over 35 years, Loria has provided financial, retirement, estate planning, and wealth management services to her clients in Connecticut, Florida, and across the country. In February 2021, she was again named to the Forbes list of Best in State Wealth Advisors in Connecticut. She was also named one of America's top women advisors in 2020. After earning a certification as a divorce financial planner, maybe some of you used her, she developed a more specialized focus on guiding affluent women through the transition of divorce or losing a loved one. As an acknowledgement for her focus on educating women and helping guide them through transition, Lori is proud to have earned Women's Choice Award for financial advisors every year since 2014. Lori and her team of advisors and professional staff also work with clients who are near or in retirement, helping guide their transition from a paycheck to having planned a place so they will not outlive their money. Lori has been welcome as a guest at national conferences and has conducted over 350 workshops covering all aspects of financial and estate planning. She's been widely recognized in the industry by Forbes, Barron's, Connecticut Magazine, Wealth Manager Magazine, and many, many others. Acting on her strong belief in and importance of giving back to the community, Lori has presented special programs on creative alternatives for charitable giving and empowering women in philanthropy.